Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today we are back, day 4 of our 2026 NFL position ranking series here on the channel. Today we will be doing interior defensive line, our top 10 interior defensive linemen, aka defensive tackles, anyone who primarily plays on the interior. So yeah, I'm going to get right into this. Before I do get into it, if you guys do enjoy, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content exactly like this. And without further ado, let's start off the top 10 interior defensive linemen in the NFL. Starting off with one of the high or big ticket free agent signings of the 2024 NFL offseason going into 2020. Actually, I should say 2025 NFL offseason going into the 2025 season. It is Milton Williams, New England Patriot, first year in New England this past season, former Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champion with them. Signed a big money deal with the Patriots, was pretty much consensusly seen as the best free agent available, and all the cap space that New England had, and they signed Milton Williams, and he worth the money? Outstanding first season in New England last year. Really stepped up as that defensive tackle number 1. Formed a good duo with guys like Kyrus Tonga and Christian Barmore. So, yeah, very slam dunk free agent signing for the Patriots, even with some of the injuries that he had at the end of last season, missing a few games, came back in the playoffs, played very, very well. At number 10, Milton Williams. Coming in at the number 9 position on the list, we have a first-team All-Pro in 2025. A guy who took a little bit to hit his stride in the NFL, so to speak. A former draft pick of the Arizona Cardinals, now a Denver Bronco, and one of the star-studded pass-rushing defensive tackles on one of the best defenses in the league. It's Zach Allen. As I said, former Arizona Cardinals draft pick. Really took a little bit to hit his stride there, but when he signed with Denver, it was a slam dunk signing, teaming up with guys like John Franklin Myers, who's now a Titan, Jonathan Cooper, Nick Benito, and forming a very good overall pass rush. It'll be interesting to see how he does this year without John Franklin Myers next to him. That's just losing a big piece on the defensive line, so to speak. But yeah, at number 9, Zach Allen. Coming in at the number 8 spot on the list, it is a guy who is utterly talented, completely and utterly talented, but needs to get back to his true all-pro, perennial Pro Bowl ways. It's Jalen Carter. Obviously, this guy's Mr. Notorious. You saw him. He had the incident at Georgia with the reckless driving, and then had the Spitgate week 1, actually on opening night on the opening kickoff before the very first play against Dak Prescott last year. Nonetheless, a very, very solid defensive tackle, but the stats do show that he has decreased his quality of play a little bit every single year since his rookie year, so he really, really needs to get back to that elite top 5 play that we saw in his rookie year. His name was even getting floated in some trade conversations early in the offseason. Doesn't seem like that's happening, but the Eagles did pay Jordan Davis, and so it'll be interesting to see his future. It's a big year for Jalen Carter ahead, but he comes in at number 8 on the list. Coming in at number 7, this one might be a little bit controversial. A lot of people might think this guy should be higher. It is Super Bowl champion, again, the 4th straight day with the Seattle Seahawks. I believe, right? The 4th straight day with the Seattle Seahawks. Just shows how good that Super Bowl team and defense was. It's Leonard Williams at number 7. The veteran, I believe 32, 33 years old now, former Giant, former Jet. Been a very good player in the NFL for a long time now, but he probably just had his very best career season in whatever it is, year 10, year 11. He's a veteran at this point, but a lot of people might think this guy is a top 3 defensive tackle in the league. I would beg to differ. That Seattle Seahawks defensive line was filled with depth. Guys like Boye Mafe, guys like Derek Hall, guys like Ernest Jones, who obviously we talked about yesterday, who's more of an off-ball linebacker but can give you something off the edge. Guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, who stepped in last year, obviously, as you can see there. Uchenna Nwosu has been huge. So they had a lot of depth on that defensive line, but Leonard Williams was the piece that really can find it all together. So at number 7, Leonard Williams. At number 6, we have Mr. Longevity. It's Cam Hayward. How old is Cam Hayward at this point? 37, 38. Perennial All-Pro, perennial Pro Bowler. Still an absolute rock for that Pittsburgh Steelers defense for Mike Tomlin for so many years. Still playing under Mike McCarthy now, so it'll be interesting to see how that changes, but this guy is the model of consistency and the model of the level of play that he produces at his old age. Still an absolute pillar on the Steelers defensive line, man. Still an absolute pillar, and doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon. Mr. Consistency, Mr. Longevity at number 6, Cam Hayward. Again, I'd say one of the more underrated players in the NFL. Not much mainstream media really talks about this guy because he plays for a small market in Carolina. Maybe last year's really exposure, so to speak, with the Carolina Panthers being in the playoffs, hosting a playoff game, and really pulling the Los Angeles Rams to the brink will get him more exposure, but it's Derek Brown, one of the strongest players in the National Football League. He was drafted, a high draft pick. I believe he came out of Auburn, right? He came out of Auburn. He's been a good draft pick for the Carolina Panthers ever since. He's been that guy on that defensive line, and is he the best player on the Panthers team? He's probably the best player on the Panthers' entire roster, unless I'm missing anybody. Yeah, he's probably the best player on the Carolina Panthers' entire roster, and he's really not respected enough for it. I believe he's only made the Pro Bowl once. This past year, he didn't even make the Pro Bowl, which I thought was completely disrespectful, but at number 5, Derek Brown. Coming in at number 4, probably the lowest this guy has been on the list in a few years for me now. It's Chris Jones on the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously been a very good piece for Kansas City for a very long time now on the Super Bowl teams, on the back-to-back teams. He's been the best player in that Kansas City Chiefs defense. He's gotten paid nicely. He's pretty much done everything. Probably a future Hall of Famer already at this point. Even in a somewhat down year, I wouldn't say it was a down year, Chris Jones is still a very good player, but he really wasn't up to his full par of that best defensive tackle in the league, which we've considered him for probably a few years now. I think I had him at number 1 or number 2 last year, but he was still a Pro Bowler. He was still a Pro Bowler and still played very well, and he's still that guy. He's still that guy on Kansas City's defense, even with the help they're giving him. George Karlaftis has turned into a very, very good player. I mean, they've previously had Tershawn Wharton. He left before last season. Charles Omenihu's been a big player on that defensive line, but at number 4, Chris Jones. Welcome to Cincinnati, Sexy Dexy. At number 3, I have Dexter Lawrence. And I might get slammed for this one. People might say I'm being biased. People might say I have him too high, but this guy eats up double teams. I mean, obviously, one of the most out-of-the-blue trades, one of the most out-of-the-blue moments that I've ever experienced as a Bengals fan was getting a notification that the Bengals traded for this guy. I am absolutely through the roof about it. It's the best defensive tackle the Bengals have and will have since Geno Atkins left. The epitome of getting double teamed, the most pressure from the nose tackle position that the NFL sees by far. And a lot of people talk about only the half sack last year. He only had a half sack last year. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be totally different this year, man. It's going to be totally different this year. You're stuck with a 2-win, as you can see, 2-12 right there, Giants. He dealt with some lingering injuries over the course of the season. This is his year, man. I'm telling you, this is his year. At number 3, new Cincinnati Bengal, Dexter Lawrence. At number 2, we have another guy who was recently traded. He was traded at the trade deadline last year from the New York Jets to the Dallas Cowboys. It is Quinnen Williams. An absolute force, similar to Dexter Lawrence, similar to Chris Jones, an absolute force on the interior for Dallas, and really provided support. Him teaming up with Osa Odigizua last year, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a second because he's on the honorable mentions list, now a 49er. Kenny Clark, who the former Packer, wasn't as good last year with Dallas, but still a very good player. Quinnen Williams, the Cowboys traded what they did to get him from the Jets, and he was very good with Dallas last year. A lot of people are saying that this could be really the year that he has a full season. His first full season under his belt with Dallas will be this season, and he could really turn back into that first-team All-Pro type guy, which he never really left that status. He just kind of switched teams, was on the Jets for a while, so kind of people forgot about him. But at number 2, Quinnen Williams. And at number 1, this guy was the best defensive tackle in the NFL last year. Strictly off last year, it wasn't really close. Jeff Simmons, this guy's been good for a very long time now. He's kind of shot up and down rankings lists. He's been up top 3 before, and then he kind of went down a little bit when the defensive tackle position started getting a little packed with talent, and now he's back at number 1, freshly off a new extension. Literally just got paid like last week or something. A lot of people are saying it was a very good deal for the Tennessee Titans. And he's also in the headlines because he was heavily disrespected on the NFL Top 100 list. I believe he was in the 70s or 80s, which is way too low. This is the best defensive tackle in the NFL. I don't really think there's an argument against that right now. The Titans obviously were kind of a disaster last year. That's why not many people talked about him. But, man, he was just... There's an argument this guy might be on my top 10 of my top 100 list in a few weeks here because he was that good. He was that good. He was the only thing saving the Tennessee Titans defense as a whole because it was rough last year. It'll be interesting to see what Robert Saleh can do with him. Obviously, this guy's added. They swapped Tavondre Sweat for Will McDonald now, so... Or, sorry, not Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson's now a Titan, rushing off the edge next to Simmons, so it will be interesting. But yeah, at number 1, Jeff Simmons. And here is the full list with the honorable mentions. As you can see, the top 10 I went over. Jeff Simmons, Quinnen Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Chris Jones, Derek Brown, Cam Hayward, Leonard Williams, Jalen Carter, Zach Allen, and Milton Williams, with the honorable mentions being DeForest Buckner, who, again, is a guy who displays a lot of longevity. He just dealt with some injuries in Indianapolis, which has kind of made people forget about him. Kobe Turner, he's the absolute young star. Vita Vea, who's a pillar on the Bucs defensive line. Jordan Davis, newly paid Philadelphia Eagle, former first-round pick. Byron Murphy II, former Texas first-round pick for the Seahawks. Again, next to Leonard Williams, a very, very good piece. And, as I talked about a little bit before, Osa Odigizua, one of the more underrated pass-rushing defensive tackles in the NFL, now a San Francisco 49er in the fold there next to Nick Bosa. So, yeah, that's the defensive tackle list. We are rolling through these rankings now. I'm going to finish this video, edit it up, and get it uploaded on the channel for about 10 p.m. So 10 p.m. Eastern, I should say. So, yeah, that's going to do it. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content exactly like this. And tomorrow's Friday. After that, we'll have a little bit of a break, and next week will be the offense. We'll have defensive end / outside linebacker tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and have a great night.